Sometimes work starts to feel different than it used to. That's what happens to SpongeBob SquarePants. After years of clocking in and working hard, he isn't chasing success the same way anymore.
Something's missing.
This is the story of the one day SpongeBob becomes boss and how it changes the way he sees his job. It starts with Mr. Krabs doing everything at once, serving customers, fighting off pirates for some reason, and even slicing up tiny Krabby Patties for a baby. You might wonder, who's actually cooking? It's not Squidward, he's just rolling his eyes in the corner. But something's clearly going on because SpongeBob isn't where you expect him, and he's not acting the way he used to either. This isn't the same SpongeBob who used to obsess over making the perfect Krabby Patty. He's not the overly cheerful fry cook who needed praise every shift.
Me too.
He seems calmer, more focused. The kind of guy who can handle stress without falling apart, or at least he's learning how. So, how does SpongeBob end up in this new version of himself? Like most things in Bikini Bottom, by accident. It all really begins when Mr. Krabs, whose talent for spotting loose change borders on superhuman, notices a lone penny lying on the floor. He dives for it. At the same moment, SpongeBob kicks open the kitchen door. Hard. He's probably excited about a new spatula or some condiment he just discovered, but he doesn't see Mr. Krabs on the ground. The timing couldn't be worse. Mr. Krabs gets launched across the room like a cartoon cannonball. He crashes through the doors and lands out in the street. A construction worker nearby looks up, confused, possibly wondering where the flying crab came from. And then, you guessed it, a piano falls out of nowhere, right onto Mr. Krabs. Next thing you know, the ambulance is speeding away with Mr. Krabs wrapped in a full body cast, looking more like a stack of bandages than a crab. Mr. Krabs, groaning in pain, says he'll need someone to take over the Krusty Krab while he recovers. The natural candidate in a normal universe would be Squidward, but in a twist that changes the course of SpongeBob's day and tests his soul, Mr. Krabs picks SpongeBob, however reluctantly. He's not exactly thrilled about it, but he hands over the keys anyway. Suddenly, SpongeBob is in charge. Squidward, unimpressed, mutters, "He'll ruin this place like he's always done." But here's the thing, SpongeBob isn't the same wide-eyed fry cook he's always been. He's not just bouncing around the kitchen, blowing bubbles. This is different. Now he's the boss, and being in charge, it's harder than it looks. So what does SpongeBob do? He takes a minute to think. If he's gonna run the Krusty Krab the way Mr. Krabs would, then maybe he needs to be like Mr. Krabs, or at least try. That means putting on a tough face, focusing only on money, acting serious and strict with his staff, which, let's not forget, includes a moody coworker and his overly cheerful best friend. But it's clear pretty quickly that pretending to be someone else isn't easy. SpongeBob wants to get it right, but he's not sure if becoming Mr. Krabs is really the answer. When Mr. Krabs comes back in a full body cast, wheeled in by a nurse, he's met with a surprising sight. SpongeBob is standing tall, running the place like he's in charge. Patrick's in the kitchen making Krabby Patties, and SpongeBob's correcting customers for small things like where they put their napkins. At first glance, it looks like everything's going smoothly. SpongeBob is fixing small problems quickly, like wobbly tables, missing condiments, anything that comes up. But under the surface, things are starting to crack. Squidward, who's never thrilled to be there, is even grumpier than usual. He snaps at a customer, and SpongeBob responds by strapping him into a strange device, a smile helmet, that forces him to grin for the guests. It's clear something's changed. This isn't the cheerful SpongeBob hoping for a pat on the back anymore. This is SpongeBob trying to be the boss, strict, serious, and in control. He's so focused on looking like he's got it all together, he stopped being himself. He's forgetting how to be real. The friendly, hardworking SpongeBob who used to care about doing a good job because he loved it? That guy's getting lost in the shuffle. Now, it's all about control, about keeping up the image of someone who's in charge. And in doing that, he's missing the point. What SpongeBob hasn't realized yet is that trying too hard to become some perfect version of a boss doesn't fix problems. it creates new ones. He's learning the tough truth that pretending to be something you're not, whether it's the best employee or a leader, only gets you so far. And often, it makes everything more complicated than it needs to be. And that pressure really shows when Patrick works as the fry cook, or at least tries to. True to himself, Patrick brings his usual messy energy. At one point, he even tries to clean a deli slicer using a pair of tongs. Then he completely messes up making a Krabby Patty. SpongeBob, already anxious about things going wrong, steps in and starts micromanaging everything. He corrects every move Patrick makes, every slice, every flip. And eventually, Patrick has had enough. He snaps, throws off his uniform mid-rant, and storms out. But while Patrick leaves, SpongeBob ends up caught in the Krusty Krab's revolving door. It spins faster and faster, and then something totally weird happens. A piece of SpongeBob flies off and instantly turns into a tiny version of himself. A clone. It's bizarre, but also kind of perfect. In a way, it's like the stress of the job, the pressure to control everything, is literally tearing him apart. He's breaking down piece by piece, and the job? It's starting to take over. At the same time, over at the register, Squidward's day goes from bad to worse. At first, the customers are just annoyed by the awkward smile helmet he's forced to wear and by the tension in the air. But soon, they all turn on him. It becomes a full-on angry mob. And really, who can blame them? A metal helmet forcing someone to smile isn't exactly comforting when you're trying to enjoy your lunch. Then Squidward snaps. He completely loses it, yelling in SpongeBob's face. Then he quits, and this time he's serious. For good, he shouts. And with that, he's gone. Suddenly, SpongeBob is all alone. No Patrick, no Squidward, just him in a restaurant full of hungry, angry customers. The whole weight of running the place by himself crashes down on him. The stress, the expectations, the chaos, it's too much. And it's clear. Trying to do it all, to be in control of everything, is pulling him apart. What does SpongeBob do when the pressure becomes too much? Does he take a second breath? Try to calm everyone down? Not even close. He panics. And when SpongeBob panics, things get weird. Really weird. He starts making copies of himself. Someone needs to man the grill. Boom, another SpongeBob. Cash register's empty? Boom, another. Thermostat broken? Someone spilled a drink? TV acting up? Boom, 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 more SpongeBobs. But the problems keep coming. It's too hot, then it's too cold. Someone slips on the soda. The pickles have come to life. It's too much. SpongeBob snaps. He lets out a scream that sounds like someone who's had enough, and he runs into the kitchen thinking it'll help. It doesn't. Inside, things get worse. He completely loses it, cutting off pieces of himself to make even more clones. He's trying to fix everything at once, and it's falling apart. It's loud. It's messy. It's what happens when someone tries way too hard to keep total control. Every little problem feels huge, and instead of stepping back, he leans in harder, thinking if he just works faster, he can make it all okay. But here's the thing. When you try to handle everything by yourself, when you won't let go of anything, even a little, you don't just make things better, you make them worse. SpongeBob's learning that in the worst way. By trying to control it all, he's not keeping the place running, he's setting the whole thing on fire. Patrick stumbles back in, still naked, muttering something about cleaning out his desk. But really, he's just stealing someone's lunch. In all the confusion, the front door is left open. A sudden gust of wind sweeps through the restaurant, pulling the new SpongeBob clones into the air. They're sucked upward into a huge ceiling fan and shredded instantly. Bits of sponge rain down on the horrified customers, who scream and rush out in a panic. Within seconds, the Krusty Krab is empty. Mr. Krabs, still stuck in his cast, watches in disbelief. The shock and anger hit him all at once. He is so furious. He bursts out of the cast entirely and charges straight toward the chaos above, where SpongeBob is stuck in the fan. That's when SpongeBob breaks. He admits everything. He didn't mean for it to get this bad. He only wanted to prove he could handle responsibility, that he could manage the Krusty Krab the way Mr. Krabs would. But Mr. Krabs, torn between yelling and sighing like a tired parent, tells him the truth. No one else can be him. And honestly, that's okay. Sure, he forgives SpongeBob, but the mess has cost him a fortune. So SpongeBob's paycheck? It's going to take a hit, a huge one, for years. Ironically, all that rage seems to have fixed Mr. Krabs' body. He's moving just fine now. And here is where everything clicks. SpongeBob's big mistake wasn't ambition. It was copying someone else's version of leadership. He tried to follow Mr. Krabs' formula step by step, instead of finding his own way. He didn't trust the process. He forced it. And in doing so, he lost what made him great in the first place: his love for the job, his heart for the grill, and his genuine care for people. SpongeBob didn't need to lead by shouting or making people wear creepy smile gear. He led by example, by showing up every day and flipping patties with pride. That was enough. It always was. How does this over-the-top SpongeBob disaster relate to everyday work life? The 9-to-5 that so many of us know and tolerate? It's actually a pretty clear warning. You might think being loud, bossy, and always in control makes you a strong leader. You might even try to act like that one tough boss everyone listens to, or at least avoids. But is that real leadership, or are you just putting on a role that doesn't really fit? Real leadership isn't about barking orders. It's about knowing your team.
Right, boy. I appreciate you, Squidward.
Now I feel complete.
Their strengths, their odd habits, and what makes them tick. It's about giving people the space to do their job and trusting that they'll do it well. Micromanaging, second-guessing, or trying to control every move only creates stress. You end up acting more like a worried parent than a leader, and people notice. When you treat your team like they can't think for themselves, two things usually happen. They push back, or they check out completely, just like Patrick and Squidward did. And when that happens, you are the one left to deal with the fallout. You are the one stuck in the mess, asking yourself how everything fell apart. So maybe the lesson here isn't just for cartoon characters. Maybe it's for all of us trying to lead better, not by control, but by trust. And that's how SpongeBob found out being the boss isn't always a dream. In case you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button.